Hello movie lovers, Bob for Bob's movie review here, and today I'm bringing you guys the new Blu-ray and DVD shopping guide for Tuesday, July 30th, 2019. Be sure to click subscribe and click on the bell icon to be notified whenever I upload great new content. If you do enjoy the video, be sure to show it some love and give it a like rating. So this is the last week of the month, and it's really kind of a slow week. I wasn't sent a ton of stuff for review. In fact, I did catch up on a few titles that I wasn't able to review earlier in the month. But let's get into it. Remember, you guys can find links to purchase these movies down in the description below, and if you do use those links, I do appreciate it. It does help support the channel. So first up this week we have The Island, and I told people I was watching The Island and they're like, oh yeah, I've seen that movie. No, this is a new movie called The Island, and it is releasing on Blu-ray only, I believe. I don't even believe there's a DVD release on this one. Amazon $17.58, Best Buy $17.99, Target $19.89, and Walmart no listing. Well Go USA was nice enough to send over a copy for review. Here's a look at it. Here's a look at the disc on the inside. This one was, I believe it was in Mandarin. Mandarin. This one was in Mandarin. It did not have English dubbing, so you will have to watch this one with subtitles. I believe this one was pretty easy to read though. It wasn't too bad. And you know, with these movies, I can't say the characters' names, but so our main character, he goes on this not a business trip, a trip with his office or his company or whatever, and it's like a team building thing, and they get in this big bus, and I was like, man, that bus looks kind of weird, but whatever, you know, it's in their country, maybe it's normal over there, I don't know. What ends up being this bus is also a boat. Now, I know I've seen like cars, amphibious cars that can go underwater. This was a whole freaking like a Greyhound bus looking thing. And there's also talk of a meteorite hitting the earth and it could kill everybody. And when they're out on this bus tour that just seems to go out miles and miles into the ocean, there's this giant tidal wave. And they end up going under the water, and I don't know if it was supposed to be like it's also a submarine or just somehow not a lot of water leaked in, and they managed to survive. And so long story short, they end up washing up on this island. Now the main character, there was this thing where he kind of liked this one woman, and he ends up winning like $60 million in the lottery. Like when they're on their way in the bus, he checks his lottery ticket and he won the lottery. And so they get kind of crashed on this island. There's nothing there. You know, there's kind of like this power struggle and all these like different groups and alliances form. And like he just wants to get back to land so he can claim his money because he only has 90 days before he loses the money. So he really wants to claim it. And everybody else kind of seems to settle in with just staying there because they're like, well, the tidal wave killed everyone. Everyone's dead. You know, we're not, there's nothing to go back to. There's no reason to try. And they don't really have any supplies or anything. This movie was just kind of like a roller coaster for the main character. Like something good would happen, something bad would happen. You know, he just always felt like he was really down on his luck. And I thought it was a really cool movie, guys. I really enjoyed it. I don't know. I don't really have any complaints, I don't think, about this one. I gave this one a 3.5 out of 5. Next up is The Swindlers. This one will also only be releasing on a Blu-ray. Amazon and Best Buy $17.99. Target $19.89, and Walmart no listing. Once again, Well Go USA was nice enough to send over a copy for review, and I actually, there's just a plain kind of blue disc there. I just finished watching this one. Now this is about a group of swindlers or con men or you know, something like that, whatever you guys want to call them. And a little complicated in the story. This kid and his dad are kind of like, they're swindlers, and his dad, he made like a fake ID or something so this guy could escape the country, and in return they killed the dad. And so later on the son wants to get revenge, and he's trying to find the guy, and he gets involved with all these other swindlers. And it's one of those things where there's all these twists and turns, and nothing as it appears. Everybody's got like a double cross and triple cross and quadruple cross, and you never know exactly like who's being up front, what's actually going on behind the scenes, and there's a lot of stuff that happens that there's no way you can know is going to happen, and so then they have to eventually reveal it all to you. It was a little long, 2 hours, it was a little over 2 hours, yeah, 2 hours on this one, and I felt like it was a little long for this kind of movie. But I did like the characters. I like the story. I thought the movie was well done for sure. When you see the ending, it's kind of crazy. But I definitely did like this one. I gave this one a 3 out of 5. I typically don't like these kind of movies. I don't get into these kind of heist. I guess you'd call it a heist movie. Although this one was more about like murdering and revenge than like getting money or whatever. They did leave this open-ended, I think, for a sequel. But I like this one, guys. I give it a 3 out of 5. Definitely solid, worth checking out. I did forget to mention this one was in Korean, no English dubbing, so you will have to read subtitles. I would say, numerous instances where it wasn't that they were necessarily talking too fast, but the subtitle would just like disappear almost instantly, and I was just like, well, guess what they said wasn't that important. Next up is Body at Brighton Rock. This one is releasing on a Blu-ray, Amazon and Best Buy $17.99, Walmart $18.19, and Target $18.29. It'll also be releasing on a DVD, Amazon and Walmart $16.39, Target $17.29, and Best Buy $17.99. This one is from Magnet Releasing, and they were nice enough to send over a copy for review. Body at Brighton Rock. I love this artwork, really cool. There's no embossing. I wasn't sure there for a second. You got this bear kind of attacking this girl. There's a few images there on the back, if you guys can see those. Same art on the disc as the cover. Now, I had heard some mixed reviews on this one, but I was definitely excited to check this thing out. It's about this girl. Before I get into that, I was a little confused because they kind of almost wanted to set this up like a throwback style, real 80s with the title cards, the music, and I felt like even kind of the way the girl was dressed a little bit almost kind of felt more like 80s, not overly. And after I was noticing all this, there was a car, but I don't remember what it was. But then later on, you see her using a modern cell phone, and I was kind of like, okay, well, maybe it's just like an artistic thing. Like they really like the style of the 80s, so they just kind of wanted kind of like a throwback look, but it's not really an 80s movie, you know what I mean? So this girl, and it's not real clear how old she is. I mean, I don't know if she's like over 18 or she's like a teenager, not really sure. But she works at the Brighton, I think it was Brighton Rock, I don't know, was that the name of the it's like a national park or something that she works at, and it's kind of like she's a forest ranger. I'm not sure that was her exact position, but she wasn't really good at the outdoor stuff. She would mostly work in the inside, but her friend wants to be closer to this guy so she can flirt with him, so she takes her job, which is to go out on this trail and hang up all these flyers like safety tips and stuff like that. And she really wasn't qualified for it, so she goes out there and she ends up, I don't want to say how, I think they did kind of give it away in the trailer, but she ends up stumbling across this guy who's either hurt or dead or whatever, and she doesn't know what to do, and she's really not equipped for this, but I guess they end up telling her, well, since you're the only one there, you have to secure the possible crime scene and make sure nobody tampers with it and nothing happens. And she's like, well, I don't even know where I'm at. And they're like, well, we're going to send a rescue team, but it's almost night, so we have to wait till tomorrow. So she basically has to last the entire night. I thought this movie had some really good tense moments, some scares, a really good thriller in my opinion. A lot of stuff happens throughout the night, and it's really hard to tell if it's really happening or if it's just kind of her imagination, in the dark. And I always find like the woods at night is like the creepiest thing ever. Like it's so dark, so quiet. Any noise you hear is just like super creepy, super scary. And I thought they did a really good job with this, guys. I really enjoyed this one. I gave it a 3 out of 5. Next up is Longshot. This one will be releasing on a Blu-ray, DVD, and digital. Amazon and Walmart 1996, Best Buy and Target 1999. It's also going to release on a DVD. Amazon and Target $14.99, Walmart $21.72, and Best Buy $22.99. Now, Lionsgate did not send me this one, and I was thinking about picking it up on Tuesday, but I have a pretty full schedule. Well, all of August, so I kind of figured, well, if when it goes on sale, I'll pick it up. I do really want to check this one out. Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron, right? And she's like a presidential candidate, and they kind of have like a romance, and he's Seth Rogen. It looked really interesting and cool, and I definitely want to check it out, but I just don't see any reason for me to pay full price when I know I'm not going to get to watch it for probably at least a month. So I'll just check it out, see what happens on that one. Next up is El Chicano. This one is releasing on a Blu-ray and digital. Amazon, Best Buy, and Target $19.99. Walmart $24.96. Also releasing on a DVD. Amazon and Walmart $16.78. Best Buy $17.99 and Target $19.69. Next up is Ugly Dolls. This is an animated movie. I don't know much about this one, guys. Releasing on a Blu-ray, DVD, and digital. Best Buy $22.99, Amazon and Walmart $25.79, Target $26.99. It's also releasing on a DVD. Amazon, Best Buy, Target, Walmart, all $22.99. Next up is The Intruder. I thought this one looked really cool. Again, it's not something I'm going to be able to check out right away. It is releasing on a Blu-ray and digital. Amazon and Best Buy $19.99, Walmart $29.96, and Target $22.99. It's also releasing on a DVD, Amazon and Walmart $19.96, Target $19.99, and Best Buy $22.99. Next up, Domino will be releasing on a Blu-ray and digital copy combo pack, Walmart $14.96, Amazon and Best Buy $14.99, Target $16.99. It's also releasing on a DVD, Amazon and Walmart $12.96, Best Buy $13.99, and Target $14.89. Now, I did review this one a while ago when it came to digital, and if you guys want to check out that review, you can just search for Domino on my channel. But I gave this one a 5 out of 10, and maybe I was a little too generous even with it. I don't know. It was about this guy and his partner gets killed, and he's got to find the guy who killed him, and it's kind of like this international terrorist thing. But it was just so slow. The things that happened in it were so dumb, and I was not a fan of this one, guys. Next up is Deadly Class Season 1. I don't really know anything about this one, but just by the cover art, I was very intrigued for sure. This one is releasing on a Blu-ray, Amazon and Walmart $36.01, Target $37.49, and Best Buy $42.99. It's also releasing on a DVD, Amazon and Walmart $31.50, Target $32.49, and Best Buy $34.99. Next up, Humanoids from the Deep is getting a Shout Factory Steelbook, which will include Blu-ray, Amazon $22.94, Walmart $22.96, Best Buy and Target no listing. Now, I did pre-order this one. Hopefully it comes a little earlier than my last Steelbook pre-order from Amazon. But I'll bring you guys something on that when I'm able to. Next up is Glory getting a 4K release, which will include 4K Blu-ray and digital, Amazon and Best Buy $19.99, Walmart $22.96, and Target $24.29. Next up, The Good Place, the complete third season, is releasing on a DVD, Amazon and Walmart $19.96, Target $19.89, and Best Buy no listing. Last up for the new releases, we have Devil Music releasing on a DVD, Amazon and Walmart $13.99, Target $14.59, and Best Buy no listing. I did not receive this one. I don't know if Wild Eye Releasing just got tired of all my pretty poor reviews for their titles, but they don't really seem to want to send me anything anymore. But I'm still going to let you guys know it is releasing. Now, I did get this one in the mail since my last video. Weird Science Steelbook. I will have an unboxing of this going up when I get a chance, maybe not for a few days. I did get that one in. It was just a late delivery from Amazon. I'm going to show that to you guys. So now I do have a few releases, for previous releases from Mill Creek Entertainment and for digital media. One I just got, two I already had. I didn't have time to get to them before now. So first up is Run. This one is from Mill Creek Entertainment, and as I said, is out now. This one has, what was this, yeah, Stephen Baldwin was in this. I don't know if this is a new movie or I didn't look into it. Sorry, guys. I don't see any previous copyrights on here. But this is a movie about human trafficking and sex slaves. It's a little confusing what exactly happens to this guy, the main character, but him and his fiance get married, and the night they get married, like she gets a cut on her hand and he goes to get a first aid kit, and then she gets abducted. And I mean, not at the same time of night, but at kind of the same time of the movie, this young girl, probably a preteen or early teens in that area, she's kind of like chatting with this guy, and he convinces her to meet him, and he's like a predator, and he's like collecting all these kids and he's gonna sell them. And this guy's wife's like getting sold into like sex trafficking. And this movie, it wasn't well acted. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't well acted. Definitely had a whole cheap quality to the whole movie. I kind of want to say After School Special. The acting was a little better than that, but the quality, I would say it was kind of on par with an After School Special. But I stuck it out through to the end. It had a good story. The characters were pretty good. Just the acting wasn't great. And I ended up liking this quite a bit. It's a lot like Taken, but it takes place here in America. That guy is trying to track down his wife, and he's like finding all these people, and, he's not trying to attack them, but, he's asking them, and he's finding out all this information. This does have this Dove approved thing on it, which I think that means like family safe. It says 12 plus. This movie is super preachy. The guy and his wife are like, oh, God is watching you, don't do this, the whole time. But overall, guys, I did like this movie. I gave it a 3 out of 5. It's definitely a more family friendly approach to the Taken franchise. Next up, also from Mill Creek Entertainment, and this one is available already, was this NASA A Journey Through Space documentary. Now, this one does have a copyright of 2016. I think it was made in 2015 because towards the end they mentioned 2015 a lot. So I'm guessing that was kind of the most recent information they had. This is by far the most comprehensive documentary I've ever seen on space travel. They go back probably a little too far to like the ancient Romans and myths, and they get into like the evolution of the plane, kind of how the plane was first developed, and eventually into all the testing of the different like Gemini rockets, and then they get up to eventually the space shuttle. To me, I was a little disappointed in the space shuttle segment, just in that it didn't seem like they really talked about the development, with the Apollo and the Gemini, and the name of the other one's escaping me right now. They spent a lot of time just talking about the development, different testing they did. And with the shuttle, they really didn't go too much into it, because if you go from like the Apollo to the shuttle, it's a huge difference. Now, and I was watching this, and I was like, this thing is more than 4 hours. I thought this was supposed to be 4 hours. And I was like, there's no way this is 4 hours. It is 5 hours and 18 minutes. I was like, okay, that seems more accurate. It is broke down into 7 parts. I think if you watched maybe 2 parts at a time or something a little more manageable. I watched the whole 5 hours and 20 minutes in 2 days. So I kind of went on some long marathons. I believe it was the second to last part, the shuttle and living in space. They kind of recapped a lot of stuff from earlier. Like it was almost like it was its own separate documentary. I don't know. It was weird. I didn't understand what was going on. I was like, did somehow I get back on the first disc watching the first part? Like, I don't get it. I don't know what was going on there. They also even talked briefly, and not a whole lot, mainly just the milestones of the Russian space development. And they do get into like the space station and kind of the future, but they kind of hit on it, and it really, I really started thinking about it. We don't really do a lot of space stuff anymore. It's kind of, I know they grounded the shuttles and whatnot, but it seems like you don't really hear about space anymore. I mean, they talk about the space station every now and then, but I don't know. It's just weird that we have so much more technology than we ever had before, but we're not using it for space. I don't know, guys. I thought this was really cool. I'm really into space. I really enjoyed this thing. It is long, like I said, 5 hours, but you watch a couple parts a day or a week or whatever, much more manageable. Lots of stuff that I really didn't know. Like I said, just really comprehensive, basically like every test and mission. Not every mission, because I guess the shuttle went on a, like, was it 100 missions or over 100 missions or just some crazy amount. So obviously they didn't have every shuttle mission, but you know, and they kind of went into different politics throughout the 60s and the 50s and, you know, all kinds of stuff, guys. This is a great documentary if you guys are into space. I highly recommend it. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. I know I went on a little long about that one. And then 4 Digital Media did send over Robert Reborn for me. I don't get that. I'm just noticing on the back, it says horror at 30,000 feet. I don't even know what that has to do with. Oh, they were on a plane at one point. Okay. So yeah, this is the 5th movie in the Robert franchise. And where it fits in the scheme of the franchise definitely takes place at one point during 4. Because if you've seen 4, was that Robert's Revenge or whatever, or Robert, I can't even remember now. It basically takes place after 3, but then it ends like during 1. This one takes place in the 1950s. The toy maker has left Germany and he's now in Russia trying to, you know, kind of escape the Nazis who he stole the book from. And this Russian, I don't know, some Russian officer or whatever finds out about the book and he wants to get the book. And so he's kind of like tracking down the toy maker. And there's this whole thing at the beginning too. I didn't understand the title, Robert Reborn. And there was this thing where like this kid named Robert gets killed, but I mean, that goes against the rest of the movie and the other movies. Like it was the kid Robert or something. I don't know. I was very confused where that came from. Unless that kid's soul was a soul that went into him later, but I don't know. I'm so confused. I was really hopeful that this one would kind of just step above the rest and do a little more, but it feels like basically the same formula. Have a moderately low budget horror movie with mostly mediocre actors and throw the dolls in there a little bit and they don't do a whole lot of anything. I just can't figure out why they don't put the dolls in it more. Look, you see on the cover, 3 dolls, Robert Reborn, the curse continues. But the dolls, I mean, like if you timed it, I would bet they're not even on screen for 5 minutes. It's kind of just disappointing in that aspect for sure. The rest of the story, you know, it's not bad. It's kind of generic. There's definitely a lot of choices that I would have to question in how they film stuff in this one. And I was gonna look it up, guys, and I forgot. But the toy maker guy, he seemed like he was a different guy, and the makeup and stuff seemed cheaper on him. It was pretty obvious. Not that it was great in the other ones, but it was less obvious, I thought, than in this one. They definitely left it open for another sequel. Why they would want to make another sequel, I do not know. But yeah, slightly below average, guys. I give this a 2 out of 5. You know, it does have the doll. The dolls are creepy. There is some kills. Not really much in the way of effects, though, as far as like blood or gore or anything like that, which I don't understand. You know, this kind of movie should have gore in it, and there's like some cheap blood and stuff, but overall, you know, not real great in the gore. But I would say this one kind of is in line with the rest. I think this is, you know, I don't know, it's as good as the rest. So if you guys really enjoyed the rest of the Robert movies, check this one out. But I want to thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys plan on picking anything up this week, I would love to hear what you guys are picking up. If you guys saw any of these movies, love to hear your thoughts on them, as always, down in the comment section below. Remember, if you did enjoy the video, to leave it a like rating. If you haven't already, subscribe for more videos, check out the suggested videos, check out my website, BOBSMOVIEREVIEW.com, and I'll see you guys next time.